1.21 gigawatts. Great God!
Shall we play a game?
Would you like a jelly baby?
Engage auto systems.
Aye. Engaged.
Clear all moorings.
Cleared, sir.
1/4 impulse power.
You know how to fly, don't you?
No. Do you?
You shall not pass!
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
The Force will be with you, always.
Hi, and welcome to the Geek Hangout podcast. My name is Mark, and I am joined tonight, as always, by my very good friend and co-host, Grant. How you doing tonight, Grant?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great. It's been a long time. I think it's been a little bit over almost 2 months, maybe.
Has it been that long? It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah. So, for our diehard listeners, sorry about that. We've, just been busy. Life got in the way a little bit. If you're just tuning in, hey, welcome back, or welcome to the show. But this brings us to episode 55 of the big show.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Tonight, we're going to discuss, we're going to talk about what we've been up to in the, in our little hiatus here. But we have a lot of just news and stuff to get through. And we're going to kind of move at a little faster clip tonight, only because most of the stuff has been out there.
Yeah.
And, we'll give you some little thoughts and updates on it. But, just kind of want to make sure we get the news out there and get it to everyone.
Sort of a catch-up show.
Exactly right. Very good. But in the meantime, or to start things out, as always, we always like to say, what have you been up to? What's been going on, Mark?
Well, I have had an incredible 2 months. right. Like it is like everything is coming up, Mark, in the last couple of months. For and I'm mostly going to focus on my my video game stuff. I mean, I've been watching all kinds of different shows and whatnot, but like mostly I'm going to talking about some of the video game stuff that I've been able to do over the last couple of months. And what I can tell you is I've been super excited. I have been looking for this for a long time, and I am proud to announce I got a Power Glove.
Very nice.
I've been looking for it for a couple of years, and I finally saw somebody posted it, and I'm so pleased to add this to my collection. It works.
That's awesome.
I've been able to hook it up to my. It's in great shape.
Yeah.
I hooked it up to my NES.
For those of you on the podcast, we have it going for YouTube. He's got it on his hand, so like he held it up when he announced it.
Yes.
He was all proud of himself.
The Power Glove. It's so bad. Like, so yeah, I'm so excited about this.
It's really good. Like in terms of, you know what I mean? Like it
I couldn't believe when the guy posted it, and I have to say I'm really excited about it. When the guy posted it, I got it on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
And when he posted it, I was looking at it and I was going back for it. Like the price was a little high, and it wasn't just the Power Glove. It came with with a number of other things. There was like a power pad and everything.
Oh, right,
else.
because you said it right, the box, right?
Yeah, there was like a box of stuff.
I forgot, but it came with the actual box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. And right. I also have that, which I have been painstakingly restoring. If you're watching the YouTube video,
and it's
because this was like really water damaged.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of warped and everything, and I've sort of slowly but surely been, I took it all apart and I ironed it, and there's still some tears and stuff like that, like corners are damaged, but I actually built, because it's kind of that flimsy cardboard, so I built my own little.
Oh, like on the inside, support for it. Yes,
for support for it. So it's coming along pretty well. I've still got a little bit more work to do on that, but I was just super excited because it came with all this stuff in the box. The price was a little high, but I managed to talk him down quite a bit.
That's great.
And he told me, like I asked, I was like, "Well, does it work?" And he's like, I don't have an NES. I don't have anything to hook it up to. I don't know. And I thought the price was a little high for not knowing. But I was like, it came with the box. It came with all this other stuff. It was complete. Like you could, because the glove comes with these things you have to attach to the television.
Okay,
and a lot of times, like on eBay and stuff, you'll go out to eBay and somebody will be selling the glove, but they don't have the things to attach to the TV.
Right.
And without them, it's not going to work. You're just getting the glove.
Right.
So it came with all that. So I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to see it for that price again with a box and everything else.
Right.
I'm just going to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I go to pick it up that day, and he's showing me everything that's in the box, and he pulls out like a cord that's clearly been disconnected from something, like it broke off.
Oh. Okay.
And I was like, oh man.
Right.
That was my first. I was like, there was a couple things in the box. So I'm like, I hope it's just not the glove. So I get everything home and I hooked it up, and I don't know what the cord was to, because everything that was in the box had the cord that it needed.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what it must have broken off of something that they got rid of after that. But
right.
yeah, but I think I got a pretty good deal out of it.
Okay.
So I'm really pleased with it. I've been playing around with it. And I'm excited about it. So that's the one
cool.
thing.
I've been after that for a while, so that's awesome.
Yeah. So now, so I'm super excited about that. The other thing is I was at a flea market, and I found a copy of Metroid Fusion, which for the Game Boy Advance. Which this is kind of hard to get now because Metroid Dread just came out, so all these people are going back and wanting to play all the Metroid games.
Right.
So this is kind of hard to find, and it's kind of expensive. And I got it for, again, we were at this flea market, somebody had it, and I was like, I mean, the label's a little faded,
right?
But I was like, sure, I'll take it. And I think I got that for a pretty good price. I was really excited about that.
That's nice, yeah.
And then finally, I think I've been talking about this for on a past few shows.
Right.
Metroid Dread came out 2 weeks ago, I guess.
Okay.
And they had this collector's edition that they put out, and it was like they announced it. Pre-orders disappeared the day they announced it.
Oh,
and
right.
There haven't been any pre-orders since, and so I was really worried, like I wasn't going to be able to get it. And then the day that the game actually released, those things came. They were all over the place.
Oh, so that's good then.
Yeah.
Right.
So which makes me kind of, on one hand, I was sort of like, as a collector, you're sort of like, well, I wish that stuff was a little bit more harder to get.
Right.
But I'm really glad I got it. So I got the Metroid Dread Special Edition.
Oh,
and it came with, comes with this like collector's book, and there's all this artwork in it.
Okay.
From the game and the games that preceded it. Plus, it comes with like a steel book and all that. Yeah. So I was really happy about that. I got that, and that's pretty much what I've been up to the last couple. I've been spending. We also went to, my son and I. You and I went to RetroCon, which was a toy show.
Yep.
Which was near us, which was great. And then my son, a few weeks later, my son and I went to a convention called Too Many Games.
Right.
And that's like it's actually like I sort of thought it was more kind of a local thing, but it's kind of a big deal. Like a lot of people on YouTube and stuff were talking about it.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big deal.
Where RetroCon was.
Same place, yeah.
Okay, right.
So usually they have it in June, but because they didn't have it at all last year, and then they pushed it back. So next year apparently it's going to start in June again. But we got to meet Charles Martinez, who is has been the voice of Mario in all the Mario games since Mario 64, and he's also going to be in the movie.
Oh, cool!
It's coming out.
I would hope so. Throw the guy a bone,
Well, who's doing the voice? Have you heard that? Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Which is just bizarre, but
Right, I know. I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just hire the guy that does the voice all the time? But
yeah,
I guess he does like the little sound bites, whereas Chris Pratt do dialogue and
there's no dialogue in a Mario game. It's just him making sounds.
Right.
Yeah, it's me, Mamma Mia, like that kind of stuff. So, but he was there, and then we also met. My son was real excited about this, and he actually got me interested in these guys. But because I was never a YouTube guy, but now I watch a lot of like YouTube, and some of that stuff is really good, I have to say.
Oh, right.
Like a lot of the gaming stuff, and so there's these guys that they're Spawn Wave Media. It's well, the one guy's Spawn Wave. He started the whole thing, and now he's got like a channel, and all these other gaming YouTubers are like on a podcast together, and it's called Spawn Cast.
Oh,
and
all right.
all of those guys were there, and we got to meet those too. We got the
cool.
autographs and stuff like that. And so my son was real excited because he.
Oh, that's fine. That's good for him too, right? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a great couple of months. I mean, that's probably why we haven't been
I know, right?
recording. I've been busy with all this gaming stuff.
Very busy. We started doing this for fun, which it is, but real life fun takes precedence sometimes.
Absolutely. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
So I've been up to. It's been actually pretty good for me too. Let me see if I can take this and get it in the picture here. I got my vintage sandcrawler.
Oh yes.
So this is the remote controlled sandcrawler from 1978. I think it came out, or 79.
Right.
I think it came out. So I got that. I got it for a fairly good price, but it was another scenario where it's like, the sandcrawler was there, the door which opens and closes on the side, it's notorious for the hinges breaking off, so the door was patched and it wasn't broken. The battery cover was there, these things on the top were there, there's a little elevator inside that was there, and the remote control and the little bottom on the remote control for the batteries, like all that was there. Let me see here. Here's the remote control for it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It has the wire and all that stuff. But so basically it was all there all together. The stickers were there. So, I made an offer, and I probably paid a little bit too much, but I got it.
Yeah.
And it works. And, I was a little bit, I don't want to say disappointed, but like I did that whole Sonic Land Speeder thing, and I had to fix it and do all this stuff.
Right.
This came in, I put the batteries in, put them in the remote control, click, click, off it goes. I'm like, oh, anticlimactic.
Yeah, you didn't have to do anything. Nice.
So the only disappointment was there's a little bit of glue on the front where the door is, but nothing's broken. And so I don't know why the glue's there. And I was trying to get it off with some like rubbing alcohol and various things. But, I got to the point where I got some off, and then I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. Like you can't really see it. I know it's there, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with this anymore, because with my luck, I'll end up damaging it or something like that.
Right.
So, but that was my big purchase. And, in terms of the, my vintage stuff, that was my, my second to last piece. So the only thing I need now, I still need the Imperial Sniper. It's called. It's like a little tiny mini rig. It's like, or it's a body rig.
Yeah.
It's like this big. I showed pictures of it here before, but so that's the one. And of course, one popped up on eBay, and I'm like, well, I'll watch it. It was complete, but it wasn't. It had some kind of weird burn mark on it or something. But I'm like, well, I'll watch it. I'll see what it's going for, if it catches my interest, or if I can get it for cheap. And it ended up going for, like, in perspective, these other ones go for about like $200, $250, right? And that's what I thought this one would go for, and it went for $700. Wow! And I was just kind of like, wow, like what just happened here? And I know the prices on all this stuff has been going up, but I was, I was just like, it was freakishly expensive. So I'm like, is stuff jumping that high all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Or it's eBay. So I'm like, is there something shady going on there? You never know.
Yeah.
So,
the prices of stuff the stuff, even the video game stuff, is just like, sometimes I look at it, you're like, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, some of it has to do with, I'm sure, COVID, and everybody was home and was like, oh, I'm collecting this now and all that. And I mean, I guess a lot of it too just comes out to, people have aged up, where it's like, we have extra money, so I can go buy all these old Star Wars toys, and like, even like us, or guys younger than us, have more money. So like even the video games, which I consider a little bit younger, but those guys are all now, they were all probably working, have jobs now too. So I imagine everything's just going up,
Yeah.
So, but the only other thing I was going to talk about, and I didn't prepare this, but let me see if I can get it out of here.
Yeah.
Is so this, in the vein of vintage Star Wars, this is something I bought off of Etsy, right? And let me see if I can show it to you on the camera. So this is Elephant Man, or he was called Elephant Man, but he's one of the guys from Jabba's Palace.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Where did he come from?
So this guy on Etsy he created it and had it manufactured, and it's literally like a real action figure. I mean, like, can you hear I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
You can hear
Just
like
barely.
but it literally it feels like an action figure. His arms articulated, his feet aren't, only because his face is so long and hangs down so far.
Right.
But, I mean, he totally looks like one of the other guys and stuff, and it kind of came out of the blue. So the guy that makes him is called on Etsy The Last 17, and he's other one. And so in Star Wars vintage lore, the last 17 were the last 17. Oh, I'm sorry. The last 17 were the last 17 figures that they made, and by that point, everybody was growing up and getting out of it, and so they're very rare. This guy's called the Next 17.
Oh, okay.
And so this is the first one, but he sent a card with it, and he's got other ones blacked out, like, as sort of like a, coming soon type of thing.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, he hasn't hinted as what it might be or anything like that, but I was just really impressed with it. It's a fantastic job. The sculpt is not overdone. I mean, it totally looks like it could blend in with those figures.
Yeah.
How
does he manufactures them?
So he basically, and he didn't get too into it, but I know for some other guys, there's a few guys out there that they design it and then they basically work for the factory now this guy, I'm not sure if it was China, but the other guys that I know of, they work with a factory in China and they'll have it produced over there, much like the original figures were.
Wow.
And they send them to him and then he sells them that way. Now some guys now in more recent times are 3D printing and doing things like that. But I have a few of the 3D printed ones, and they are, some of them anyway, are very, very like rigid and brittle.
Yeah, I think I've noticed that about 3D printed stuff.
Yeah. So this guy's, I mean, he's like bendy and like rubbery, like one of the figures would be. I'm trying to think.
Now, I assume he's doing. I mean, how many of these do you think he sells? I mean, I assume they're smaller batches of.
I assume it's a small batch. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he posted a picture. He's like, "Hey, buy more than one," and it was like a big bin full of them that he got.
Yeah.
I have no idea how much. What
That's
was
fascinating.
But yeah. I mean, it ended up being, now it's from the Netherlands, so I think it ended up being almost like $70. But I really wanted it, so I did it, and I support this guy because I was really impressed with it. So, and I've seen other guys posting pictures of it, so I wanted to support him and do that. But yeah, so now there's another guy out there on Etsy called Stan Solo, and he does a bunch of figures. Same thing. He creates them, sends them the stuff to China. They manufacture them, and he's up till recently he's done a bunch of stuff like he has like a bunch of C-3POs, but they're all in different colors, or a bunch of R2-D2s with like different colored domes and stickers, and he was doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now he took pre-orders on a Slave Leia that he designed it, and that she should be shipping soon. He did a Bantha. I pre-ordered that, so like vintage style. He's having that produced, and that's going to be sent out soon. So he's getting into more original stuff rather than just like recolor.
That's really cool.
And redo. So yeah, some of this vintage, it's really neat. Some of this, the vintage stuff that these guys are going back and creating this stuff authentically, using like factory produced versus 3D printed, which some of the 3D printed stuff is wonderful, but when you get them in your hands, you can tell there's a texture, there's a difference. And then the biggest thing for me, I had this one that somebody had made, and I bought it secondhand, but a guy had made it. It was resin, and I bought it off eBay from somebody, but I went to put the gun in his hand and I broke his thumb off because there's no give, there's no bend to it. And of course I resold him on eBay, and but full disclosure, I let him know the thumb was busted, but I'm like, hey, I broke his thumb off. Who wants him? But so, there's something to be said for just that, to have that give and all that stuff. So
right.
It's pretty cool.
This has got to be the future of collecting, right? Of Star Wars, because you can't get these things that go to the store. You can't get them.
You can't get it. I mean, the figures are all, like the more modern, newer stuff. Most of them are all exclusive, so they're hard to get anyway. It takes them so long to get everything made. We're going to talk about Star Wars Visions in a little bit here. but there's a guy online. He does them and he creates the 3D files. So the first Star Wars Visions was the duel, the black and white one.
Right.
And so he did like the two main characters and the bad guy, and then like all like the bounty hunter guys that were running around protecting the village.
Right.
So he did them, created them. The files are out there. People are now printing and selling them. And like, if I haven't bought any yet, but if I wanted to, I could have had them all here now. Now I'd have to paint them myself, but it's just that fast. Things are moving that fast now.
Yeah.
Whereas, other things that it takes Hasbro forever to.
Right. And then they remake the same figures, right? Like how many, you know what I'm saying? Like how many X-Wing Lukes are we going to get? How many, like.
Right, you're right. They put all that money.
Right.
They design a figure, but then they constantly repaint, re-release, and
Right.
it's not. Now I don't collect the modern stuff, but I know people that do, and it's very hard to get it. And a lot of times it's exclusive. So like you'll be here at like in the middle of the day at like 2 p.m. and you're sitting here on the computer on Target's website because it's exclusive, hoping that you can check out in time to get it before it sells out.
Right.
And it's like I get that it's a collectible, and I get that you want to create that scarcity, but at the same time, it's a toy, and like there's got to be a happy medium for it,
Right.
So, but anyway, that's what I've been up to.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's been fun. Speaking of 3D printing, I looked into that again, I know we got to wrap up here, but I looked into that briefly again, and it's for me personally, it's too much,
Okay.
it just seems like there's entirely too much, as of right now, too much trial and error, and like there's like you need like ventilation, and there's like all these chemicals involved.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just spend the money and I'll get the figures that I'm interested in. I'll just I'll let somebody else worry about it. I'll order the stuff I might want.
Someday when things get cheaper.
Right, when things get cheaper and more reliable, then I will be all about it.
I hear you.
I know. So, all right. So yeah, I guess anything else for what you've been up to?
I don't have anything. I think I'm good.
Nope. That's it for me too. Okay, good. All right, so let's move along here, and we'll start to get into some of our news and what's going on. And first up, we got Marvel. Let's see, what do we got going on here? I guess so. Yeah, we'll start out. Want to start out with What If?
Yeah. Well, I guess we should say to begin with, like we went to we saw Shang-Chi. I mean, we're not going to do a full. If Shang-Chi's been out for a while, so we're not going to do a full review. I mean, I'm sure.
Right.
But I really enjoyed that movie. I thought I mean, I heard, I saw some banter online that they thought it was like the best origin in the MCU. I don't know if I go that far, but I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Same here. I really liked it. I liked it. I mean, in hindsight, now that it's been passed, I mean, it didn't. It's not my favorite MCU movie, but I liked it. And I'm curious to see where it goes. And I think one of the best things that the Marvel movies have going on for them is that even if the movie itself, but not by any means saying it's a bad movie, because I enjoyed it, but like, on its own, it may not have been as enjoyable, but Marvel has everything linked together. So right away, you're like, well, where are we going next?
Yeah.
What do we got in the background there?
It's my cat. See, this is earlier when I heard the door, I was afraid this is what would happen. One of the kids had let the cat in, and then I wasn't going to be able to get her out. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, that's funny. But yes. Anyway, Shang-Chi. Yes, did enjoy it. Excited to see where he'll pop up next in the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, do you think I think the movie was great. I mean, it had, obviously the importance is it brings Shang-Chi into it, but like as far as like what moved what moved the needle for the MCU, I guess, is that part at the end where they try to figure out what these rings are and where they came from,
right?
And and I think that probably speaks to what's that's probably a clue to what's coming, right? Like I don't know
Right.
what it is, but that's that's going to lead into more, right?
Right. I don't know what it's going to be, but more of something, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. Whereas like for phase one, it was all about, or not phase one. Now I'm getting mixed up. This is phase four, but for whatever, for Thanos, everything was going towards Thanos.
Right.
Where now everything, there's like things going in different directions. There's no like main villain. Like we have, Kang's out there and we know he's coming, but now there's this mystery here, which is coming. And then there's all the Dark Avengers or the
right.
what's her
agent, U.S. agent, and
yeah. So there's all those guys that are kind of coming together, and so there's all these different threats type of thing that eventually, I don't know if it'll all pay off in one movie or if it's going to be, here type of
right.
thing. Yeah.
Right. So so I'm excited to see where that's going. But I really enjoyed that movie, and I think it's a good addition to the MCU.
Yeah.
So I'm
happy
about it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So but yeah, let's talk about because we've seen the end of What If.
Right.
What If actually turned out to be a little bit different than I expected it to be, which is, I didn't expect it to be like a story thread. I was sort of expecting it to be just kind of individual stories,
Yeah, I didn't expect. Right, I didn't realize it was building to something. I just thought it was What If.
Right.
It was more of an episodic type of thing.
Right, and I thought it was great. At the ending, the finale, I thought was great.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't expecting that. I thought they were just going to be sort of self-contained stories. I didn't realize they were all going to tie together at the end.
Yeah.
Which it was pretty cool.
It was pretty neat because I didn't, like you said, I didn't expect it, and then like some of those characters you didn't expect to see them again. Like I don't know what they're calling him, but the Doctor Strange, his world, basically, he was the sole survivor of his world.
Right.
He absorbing all the magic, or whatever. Like I thought at the end of that, I thought he had died, or I thought his universe was over. And here he was, the Watcher sort of kept him off to the side, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So that was,
yeah. I thought all those stories were really good. I don't even know, like I watched them every week when they came out, and I can't even tell you which one I thought was my favorite, but I enjoyed all of them. I thought they were all really good.
Yeah, I did too. I think, let me see here. I have them pulled up here. Which one did I like the most? I did really like that Doctor Strange one, only because it was so dark and like, you didn't really expect that. And I did like the ending, the end of it all. I thought that was really clever how they, sort of tied everything together and stuff with Ultron winning and, Vision, like, basically he took control of Vision's body. And I thought it was really neat how once he was Vision, he wore like the armor of Ultron over top of it. I thought that was like a neat design choice. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that Ultron ended up being like sort of the, spoiler alert, Ultron ends up being like the big bad guy in this. And
but poor Thanos comes out, he like
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought I thought What If was great. I really enjoyed it. I have they announced the season 2? Is that like official?
Yeah,
okay.
Season 2 is definitely happening. I don't know when. I don't think they got that far, but yeah, definitely season 2 is going to happen. So
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, even if it ends up being just an adventure of the week, I really was enjoying that. So if they're kind of building to something, or if some of these characters end up somehow crossing over to live action, I mean that's sort of like icing on the cake at this point. But because I just enjoyed what it was by itself. So
yeah,
yeah. So other than that, we have the Eternals coming. That's the next movie that's coming out.
Yes, in like 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
November 5th. I was surprised. I didn't realize it was that soon. So I know they had like a big, I guess a big premiere the other night.
Yeah,
maybe it was just last night.
I think it was last night they had it. Yeah.
So, and I didn't look too much at that because apparently, they showed the movie to the press last night. Apparently somebody from the press leaked something rather.
I heard that.
And I didn't hear what the leak was. I didn't hear what I didn't hear the spoiler, but so I caught that early enough where I just saw some pictures. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I just kept moving along,
Yeah, I think the leak. I think what I heard is that the leak is the end credit scene.
Oh, okay.
But don't quote me because it's like you said. I saw the same. I saw spoiler and Eternals, and I kind of I saw it in a headline, and then I looked away.
Right. Right. Exactly. Right.
But I think that if I understood correctly, it was the like an extra credit scene.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a shame that's a shame that they, I mean, the press should know better. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This stuff should, that's whatever. I mean, we're excited for the movie, but I mean, those teasers, or I guess Marvel will maybe taught them a harsh lesson. Now they won't show them anymore. They won't show them. That's,
yeah. They should know. This isn't their first rodeo.
I know. So, but everything I've seen for that looks good. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
The more and more you see it, I'm excited for it. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. And they say it's a very, for Marvel, it's a very different type of movie. I mean, it's a bunch of superheroes and it's all that stuff. But the thing I did read is that it's just different. So I'll be curious what different means.
Yeah, and it's like I never, I don't count them out anymore, man. There's been a lot of movies that I was like, I remember thinking Guardians. I wasn't sure about that. I wasn't sure about Ant-Man. And they've always, not only have they had successful movies, they've been really good movies. So I don't count them out on anything. So I'm looking forward to this movie. I'll check it out. I mean, I hope if it's different, I'm all on board.
Well, I think then I think they have to do that because. I mean, nothing against Shang-Chi, but it's a standard, it's a Marvel origin movie, and it was good. But there's only so many of those you can do. You gotta switch it up a little bit too.
Right. I mean, I thought it was. The thing I liked about about Shang-Chi was like the whole family dynamic where it was the father, and I thought that was really good. And that's what I sort of enjoyed about Shang-Chi. I thought that was what I thought was kind of a little bit different about it. Yeah. But yeah, you gotta change it up every now and then. So I'm looking forward to checking this out.
Yeah. No, me too. And then I think in terms of this year, the only other Marvel stuff we have is we have the Hawkeye Show that premieres on November 24th.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to. And we got a trailer since the last show on that one.
Yes, right. Yeah, it's kind of fun because it's going to be Christmas themed.
Yeah, it's funny. I just watched that trailer again today, prepping for the call, and man, that show looks like it's going to be fun. And I expected it to be a little. I don't know. I don't know if I expected it to be dark. I didn't. I thought it would be more serious. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And I didn't think it was going to be dark. But maybe it will be. I mean, but it was like the fact that they paired the most wonderful time of the year music under it. Like it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like
totally right.
And I guess the girl is Kate Bishop, right?
Yes, that's the
character
name. And the actress is Haley
Steinfeld.
Okay. Right.
And
she's been in a few other things. I know she was in that Transformers Bumblebee movie, and I liked her in that. So I'm interested to see, see how she does.
Yeah, she looks familiar to me, but I don't know what I've seen her in.
I know, other than the Transformers one, I know she's been in a lot of other stuff, but nothing that I can, nothing that I can remember basically. So
yeah, but that really looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I like the Hawkeye's like there's scenes of Hawkeye where he's like I love that they play up on the fact that he's kind of like older and he doesn't have any superpowers, and like there's that scene from the trailer where he's got like ice packs all over him.
Right. No,
I can relate to that kind of thing now.
Yeah, and right, because it's just playing up. He's like, "Oh, honey, I promise I'll be home in a day or two." It's like, "Oh, just some quick business," and then obviously not. But I am looking forward to that. I think that'll be I think that should be really fun. And I did see I think there was a second trailer released, but I don't think it really showed anything new. But they the voiceover was like a Disney Plus event series or something like that.
Oh wow, okay.
So they were building it up, and basically, the point I got is that all right, there's going to be 6 episodes of this. I think it's I think 6, maybe more, but that this is it. It's a one and done. Let's have a great time with this, but this is probably it for this anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and then maybe
whether,
like Kate Bishop will take over.
Right now, whether she gets her own series or she jumps over to the movies or something like that, that remains to be seen. I think, but. Yeah, I thought it was neat just seeing them position it that way. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. So,
Yeah.
I think it's like November 27th, so right around Thanksgiving.
Right, I have the 24th written down. So
24th, okay.
Yeah, probably like the week leading although I guess maybe the week before Thanksgiving, right? Yeah, no,
Okay. I don't know what Thanksgiving is this year.
I don't either. So, you know what? Here, I know I haven't. Whatever.
It's in November sometime.
You'll be talking about it at Thanksgiving. Put it there.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
So,
yeah.
Now, the only other thing we and this news sort of came this week, is that all of a sudden, like the other day, Disney announced that all these films are being delayed.
Yeah, they pushed, and it's only Marvel. Well, I shouldn't say only, but they
which
really
was, it was sort of a shock.
Yeah, they didn't give a concrete reason. I did see Kevin Feige said something basically like, they just needed a little bit more production time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. I don't know if I can theorize that is it still after effects of COVID or the supply chain, all those issues.
Right.
I mean, there's a pending strike with some of the crews and stuff.
That's also true. Right.
Maybe they're building that in, figuring just in case we better just make plans for this or something like that.
Right.
Here, I have it here in front of me. I'll run it down.
Yeah.
So it starts at, let's see, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness goes from March 25th. They pushed that up to May 6th.
Right.
All right. And then Thor: Love and Thunder goes from May 6th to July 8th. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever goes from the July 8th to November 11th. And then The Marvels, which is Captain Marvel 2, that was pushed from
pushed to early 2023.
Right. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was bumped from February 17th of 2023 to July 28th of 2023.
Yeah.
So that got a really big. They really
it really pushed that back.
So I don't know what that means. But yeah, so I did see an interview with Kevin Feige, and he said something like he's like, instead of 3 months, we're gonna have to wait 5 months. He's like, I think everybody can handle that. So hey, if they need more time for whatever reason to get it right, I'm on board with that. I
agree 100%. I'd rather them delay it and put out a good product than rush it and end up with something that nobody's real happy with.
Right. And especially with the way all these things, they do such a great job of tying everything together and making everything matter. And like if so if you need a little bit more time, have to shoot a couple more scenes, or connective tissue, or whatever you want to call it, or you want to try to slot in a TV show, fine.
Right.
So I'm all over that.
Yeah. So now we got to wait. So we just have to wait till May for our next. Well, no, because Eternals comes out, and then Spider-Man's still slated for December, right?
December 17th. That's the one I didn't write down, but I think it's December 17th. I think I wrote.
Okay.
And then, after Spider-Man, then it will be Doctor Strange, but then that got pushed back until
May.
May. Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
I can live with that.
Yeah, right. So it's fine.
It was just sort of like I was sort of. It was funny because we were talking about recording. We were sort of texting back and forth, and as we were texting, came on my feed, and I was like, and it was just sort of a shock because it was so many. It wasn't like one or two. It was like all of a sudden, every movie in the pipeline moved.
Yeah. I was really waiting for a like a problem, like and maybe there behind the scenes or something like that. But I was really waiting for like, oh, we had to shut down this one movie, or like, yeah, maybe something like that with Doctor Strange. I mean, that seems to be like a linchpin type of movie right now.
Right,
so
right.
If that one's not right, they can't juggle it. They have to just push everything out, I guess. But
right.
Who knows? Who knows what actually happened?
Yeah.
So not to jump around on you,
That's
but
okay.
Speaking of the movie delays, we should probably jump down and talk about Indiana Jones for a second.
Yeah.
And included in that announcement of all the Marvel movies, they announced that Indiana Jones 5 would be delayed as well. And that they pushed back from June, or wait a minute now. I don't have the original
instead
date.
Instead of July 29th. Wait, yeah, it was supposed to be July 29th, 2022.
Right.
And now it's June 30th, 2023, so almost a year.
Right. Now that that made me nervous.
I'm telling you, man. And I want to see this movie. I want another Indiana Jones movie, but this thing just, I don't know. It's just got
we
red flags all over it.
We know they're shooting it. We've seen pictures from the set. They're not trying to be that secretive. I mean, like
right.
Everything is there. Like they're making this movie, and I want to see it. I'm excited for it. But yeah, I don't. I mean,
they had to rewrite the script. Didn't they have to redo the script at one point? And
it took them a long time for the script, and and then Lucas was out early, but then Spielberg, when he left, I was like, oh, okay. And now the guy they brought in, James Mangold, I think his name is, he did the Logan movie, which was very good, and sort of
right.
the end of Logan's career. And so if they're going to try to replicate that in a much different way, I assume, but if they're going to try to do that for Indiana Jones, I'm on board. I'm all I'm all over. But
right,
to lay it out a year like that, I was very surprised.
Yeah, I unless now we know they're going to de-age him, right? Like, or at least for some of it, right? Yes. So maybe a lot of it is post-production that they have to do.
And now I know, he did hurt his shoulder and had to have some kind of surgery on it. So he was out of the production for a while. And then I know they shot as much as they could without him.
Yeah.
Now he is back on the set. So maybe that put them behind a little bit. Maybe, maybe it's just came to that. But, unless there's a lot of de-aging, that'd be fascinating.
Right.
Maybe there's a lot of post-production. But yeah, just to delay it by a year, when it's already been, it feels like pushed back and pushed around so many times. And the poor man's going to be doing promotion. He's going to be like 82 years old or 80. Yeah. I don't know, 81, 80, he'll be.
Didn't they start talking about this movie when they acquired Lucasfilm?
Yes.
Which was like back in 2011.
Right?
I
think, right. Yeah. Right. You're right. Because Force Awakens was 2015. Right. So,
right.
Yeah, so
Right. They started talking about this being a thing then.
Right.
Obviously they didn't go into production for a while, but it was like this thing's been kicking around for a long time.
Oh, I know.
So I don't know. I will unless it's like a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Right? I'm buying a ticket and going to see it. So
right. You have to at this point, but
yeah.
This isn't. It's not instilling a lot of confidence, but
right.
For diehard fans, for us, and like that, we're gonna go see it. But I wonder if Disney's thinking like, okay, maybe the young kids aren't gonna pour out to see this like they would be a Marvel movie.
Right.
Even if he's a young man, it's still gonna be like, oh, that old guy, Indiana Jones. I wonder.
Yeah.
Who knows? I know.
Yeah, it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't have the resonance. Like my kids. I loved these movies when we were younger. And like my kids are sort of like, whatever.
Yeah. And I don't know what that is. Was that because that's what there was, and that's why we fell in love with it, basically because that was the big adventure movie at the time. there wasn't a lot of other stuff like that. And I mean, it was fantastic to an extent. All the stunts were cool, and I don't know.
It was there was nothing like it up at that point, right? I mean, there was really it was like its own thing.
Yeah, and then it was sort of like a throwback to all those serials, which we were too young to realize, but like there's like that. It's like that's removed from us, but we still got it. Whereas I wonder if our kids look at it like, what is this? Like, what I mean?
Right.
Like it doesn't just click with them for whatever reason it still clicked with us. I don't know how else to explain it.
I still say, like, because I was watching it one day with my kids, or it came on.
Yeah.
And I just sort of had it on. And that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I think is one of the best scenes in all of moviedom, right?
What scene is that?
The scene after they get the Germans get the Ark, and they have to transport it because they blow up the plane, and they have to transport it in the convoy.
Yes.
That whole scene is just is awesome. Like that whole, like he comes down on the horse and he's chasing them, and like that whole scene.
Right.
And my kids were sort of like, yeah. And I was like, this is like one of the greatest
the greatest chase of ever. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Are they so right? Are they that much more like sophisticated where they're like, man, it's a chase,
Yeah,
like,
right.
He's gonna win. He's a good guy. Oh well, no, okay, you're not supposed to think that way.
Oh Lord.
So anyway, highest hopes for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Does
more red flags.
Yeah.
But we saw some set photos.
Right. I mean, yeah, and he
looks
old,
good.
He looks good. I mean, he's not. I didn't think he looked elderly. You know what I mean? Like definitely he's old, and we know his age, but he's not. I don't at least in the pictures.
He's not out there with a walker, and I mean, he's fine, right? Like he looks like Indiana Jones,
right? So yeah, I'm really curious. Like, right, they have Phoebe what's her name now?
Phoebe Waller-Briggs. Is that right?
Okay, I'm not sure.
I think it is. Okay.
So she's there, and she's younger now. I don't know what her role is going to be, but maybe she'll pick up some of the more action type sequences or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe a lot of it's going to be a throwback. Maybe it'd be real. What I would like is, if they can de-age him, is like basically have a 2-part where it's like have a big adventure in the quote old days, and then in the current day, he can be more of like the scholar, sort of
right.
Like he needs to go investigate something, but much more appropriate for
like almost a detective kind of
thing. Exactly like that, where it's like let's go research this, let's go in a fun adventurous way, but it reminds me of The Last Crusade, when they were in like the library, and like remember, like he was like banging on the floor to get underneath, and they get in the catacombs, and it was an adventure, and there was all that stuff, but I don't think it really mattered how old he was at that point in time. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Anything that required, it was more like, oh my God, mice, and there's fire, and this and that. And so hopefully something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yep. So
all right. Well, yeah. Let's go back now to Star Wars then, I guess.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna throw me out of sequence here in my little. So, the Star Wars news. What other than Visions, was there anything? We got some news about the Book of Boba Fett, didn't we?
Right. Book of Boba Fett will premiere on December 29th.
Okay.
I don't have. They released like a poster or something like that. It's just hitting on the Bib Fortune's throne. That's it. I heard a rumor of something, but I'm not going to talk about it here. But so I know there's some cool stuff going on, but nothing nothing crazy, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had heard that they announced like show titles or something like that. I don't know what they
Oh,
are,
did
but
they?
I think
Oh,
I think that had, or at least they were leaked. Maybe they were leaked.
maybe they were. I didn't see that. So okay,
Um,
interesting.
so yeah, I heard something about that. But other than that, yeah, I haven't. I mean, I'm down for the show. I can't wait to see. I want to see. I want to see it all. I want to see how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. I want to see, what's his beef with Bib.
Oh, Bo, I'm glad you're alive. Pew!
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to another podcast, and where they were sort of talking about the Book of Boba Fett, and somebody brought up, and I was like, yeah, well, that's not a terrible point. How did Bib get off the barge? Because he was there.
He
was seen on the barge with Jabba.
So I'm trying to think now. But the short answer is I don't know. I guess he survived. A little bit of a longer answer is in the old expanded universe, he also survived the barge, and he made his way back to the palace.
Yeah.
But something happened, and his body was so badly damaged, they took his brain and they put it in one of those.
Oh yeah.
Monk things, and so then he was one of the fighter robots, and that's where he ended up at. In the old expanded universe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they were sort of talking about it, and they were like, how did they get off? And I just, I mean, I'm not going to get all wrapped up in it, but I figured, like, you got to figure there were a lot of people on that barge. Right. Some of them got out. He
jumped out the backside.
Right. Some of them got out before it exploded.
I mean, if R2 and 3PO jumped off, I'm sure they weren't the only. You know what I mean? So I noticed they showed. I'm pretty sure they showed Squidhead too in the Book of Boba Fett when he walks in. I'm pretty sure Squidhead's there floating around.
Oh, okay.
So maybe the two of them jumped off. Come here, let's get out of here.
They're like, let's get the hell out of it. I mean, because there was some time between when Leia strangled Jabba to death, and when the barge blew up. So at that point, Bib came downstairs and was like, I'm out of here.
How funny would that be if they showed that?
Yeah.
Like chaos, and Bib Fortune comes running in and was like, sees Jabba dead. It was like, oh, and then he's like, funny, like from comedy, but also funny to make him be like, oh, I'm in charge now.
Yeah.
I better get out of here. Like that'd be pretty funny. I wouldn't. I mean, they can definitely do and show whatever they want at this point. I feel like. I mean, Jabba's palace for a quick shot.
Right.
So it'll be in the next series, I assume. But, so I think that'll be really neat. It'd be fun to do some flashbacks, though. That'd be crazy.
I think they have to. I mean, they have to at least. Well, I don't know if they have to do flashbacks, but they have to explain how we got out of the Sarlacc pit. That has to happen.
Right. Whether it's as simple as like, oh, I have a rocket pack, or if it's, or what I mean, show them get out and show them how he ended up with the Tusken Raiders. I mean,
right.
There's a whole story there. It's fascinating. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm just excited to see what they do with it.
And what's funny is, like, I distinctly remember us being like, "Oh, I'm kind of over Boba Fett. I can understand them not having a Boba Fett show." And now that there is one, I'm like, yes.
I know.
I can't wait to get more Boba Fett.
I think that's the genius of the Mandalorian, though, is that like they were able to reintroduce him in such a way that they twofold. They reintroduced him, made you care about him again, but also like kind of like redeemed him, and to an extent where it's like, you always liked Boba Fett, but now it's like it kind of, because he helped out the Mandalorian, it kind of gave you permission to root for him.
Yeah, there's almost a reason to, because like before you always liked him because he looked kind of cool, but now there's like a reason to like him, right?
Right. Yeah, he's a badass, and that's hey, cool that way. But now you're like, oh, I get this guy. All right, he's doing this, and he's trying to get his armor back, and so. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait, and I hope we see. I hope there's a lot of cameos. I'd love to see a bunch of the other bounty hunters, and Like
Yeah.
I don't know really what the story is going to be. Is it going to be like sort of like, where he came from? Like, is it going to be like, all right, well, here's how he got out of the pit, and here's where he's going forward, taking over Jabba's, or for Jabba or Bib or whatever like that.
Right.
I mean, are we going to go even further back and see see him as a kid, or like, sort of like fill in the gaps there? Like, like Clone Wars had him as like, young Boba Fett.
Right.
I wonder if they're going to go and delve into any of that sort of thing, or, it could be anything really. Somebody did say something about like, it's going to be like basically him like settling his grudges. So like, I wonder if he'll be like tracking down, maybe he's got to track down Bosk for some reason. Like
that would just be cool.
Right.
To see.
I'd write that just for fun. All right, like, let's have him track down and kill Bosk.
Definitely.
Right.
Or Dengar.
Right. Yeah. The entire episode will be them fighting.
Right. Exactly.
So, but anyway, I'm very excited about that.
Yep.
And so so we have two other things for Star Wars. The one thing they're doing, StarWars.com is doing a thing. It's called Bring Home the Bounty, and it started like 2 weeks ago. But it's like every week they're announcing new product leading up to the holidays.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like the first week they announced a wave 2 of the retro figures from the.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. I saw those come out though. They look cool.
Yeah. So I pre-ordered a case just because I was really impressed with the first wave.
Okay.
And obviously being my vintage stuff. But yeah, so that one is going to be, it's Mando in the Beskar armor.
Right.
Boba Fett, Ahsoka,
Bo-Katan.
Who am I forgetting?
Oh,
I'm forgetting somebody.
I looked at all of them and I liked all of them. I thought they were all good choices.
Yes.
And I was like, I got to pick them up. I should have gotten a case too. I didn't think about it.
I know. I can't. Nah, I'm blanking. I don't have it. Oh, maybe I have it as a. Let me see if.
But they don't have Luke, right?
No, they don't.
And I was like, what are you doing? We got to have a Luke. Come on, we got to have Jedi Luke.
I think what they'll do is the other one is the armorer. And,
that's right.
And a Death Trooper.
Yes.
When they first started doing these retro figures, they did the first wave was Star Wars, the second wave was Empire, and then for the third wave, they were going to do Jedi, but then Mando took off, and they decided to do the Mando stuff.
Okay.
So I think at some point they'll do a wave of Jedi figures.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that's where Luke will show up.
Okay.
Because it's basically, the Luke we got at the end of The Mandalorian is the same as Jedi Luke from.
Right.
So
right.
That's what I'm kind of figuring out.
Okay.
But anyway, they've been doing the whole bounty thing. This past week, they revealed some artwork and some other products like that. Gentle Giant did a couple. They do these like jumbo size statues of like they did all the original vintage figures in these like jumbo sized.
Yeah, I think I've seen them.
And they're cool. They're replicas of the old figures, but they're huge.
Yeah, they're like.
Yeah, and
like 3 feet or something. Well, no, I don't know if they're that tall. 2 feet.
I'm gonna say, yeah. Like it's not like a 12-inch. I feel like it's bigger. But anyway, they're doing one of they've done like Mando. They've done a prototype Darth Vader type of one, and then they're just announced they're doing like a Luke, and it's
okay.
Luke. Have you ever seen the Macquarie picture? It's like Vader's coming out of the shuttle with a saber, and Luke's kind of has his back to you, and you see he has a gas mask on.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a vintage version of that Luke.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's neat, but it's I wish it was small because it's too big.
Yeah. I've always loved that. I remember I had that card when I was a kid, and I loved that picture. Yeah, even though it never was like in any of the films, so I still love it.
All those, I remember. I think we said this before in the show. I remember I had those portfolios of all the Macquarie artwork.
Oh right, yeah.
But like you could flip through them, and it was all his pre-production stuff he did, and like for Star Wars Empire and Jedi and stuff like that. And there was some really neat stuff in there, like that picture and some other things. So I always, anytime you can see some of his stuff, I always enjoy that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to get back on track. So the other thing for Star Wars is we have Star Wars Visions.
Yes.
The anime series. I watched all of them. I got through them all.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this yet, so
Yeah,
I'm curious to hear your opinion.
The first one was in like black and white.
Yes.
I really, really liked it. It just visually, it was very interesting. I mean, they had, you know, the different bounty hunter guys in the village, like the different aliens, and they were really neat. They had like the Doug driving like a probe droid.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know, just really captured my imagination. And I really liked the samurai, or not samurai, the Ronin. I think that's the name of the show. No, is that the name of the show, or is it called The Duel? I forget now.
I
don't
remember.
It's called The Duel.
Okay.
But I think the guys that character type is from Japanese is called a Ronin. Or
okay.
But anyway, I really liked it. I liked all the designs and stuff like that. You know, it was obviously very heavily influenced by Japanese, you know, the Japanese culture and the worlds and all that stuff. But I really liked it. I you know, my favorite one by far. The rest of the series, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. Some of them I didn't like. I didn't care for it all. Some of them I found interesting, but I found that I liked the ones I liked the most were probably ones that could actually have taken place within the existing universe.
Yeah.
Like the one there, other than the heavy influence of the Japanese, like the one R2D2 had like a straw hat on, and other than like that sort of thing, everything else, like, you know, you're like, well, this could be a road.
This could be put right. I could see this as being a story, like a show or TV show or something,
yeah,
right?
Right. Whereas some of the other ones, you know, were totally different, and you're like, okay, this is just out there. And you know, and I don't know. I mean, nothing. You know, the other ones I can think of is there was one where they went and they met I think it was the Elder. There was like a Jedi and a Padawan, and they went and fought like this little old man that was on this planet. It was neat, and it seemed like it was again something that could have been part of the story.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yes.
Right.
I full disclosure, I haven't gotten. I think I'm through most of them, but like the last one I saw was, I think it was called the Ninth Jedi or the Seventh Jedi or something like that.
Oh, the Ninth Jedi, right? Is that the one on the space station that they call all the different Jedi?
Yeah, and spoil. You know, there's a twist at the end. I guess I shouldn't reveal here, but that one I really liked.
Yes, that one I did like too.
I love the first one. I really liked that one. It's kind of hit and miss. Like the second one was the one where it was like the Jedi turned, you know, went to a rock band. I thought it was kind of strange. I mean, it was like, I don't know. I was following the story. I was like, I don't love this story. But then at the end, I was sort of like, is he going to be, at the end, is he going to do a Jedi thing?
Right.
You know, and like save his friend or whatever. And then he didn't. And they just became a really good rock band. I was sort of like, not for me.
Now that I did find myself laughing at that, like at the end when they showed, like, you know, basically they start jamming, and like eventually they just cut the Jabba, and you see Jabba's tail being like to the beat.
Right.
It did make me laugh. So I'm like, this is amusing, but maybe it was such a diversion from the first one.
Yeah.
You know, like it maybe that was part of the problem too.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. So it's look. I'm glad Visions exists.
Yes.
Right. Like, you know, I thought there's some really cool, like they play with some cool concepts, you know, and I think that's really what it's all about, you know, is like hey, it's like a sandbox. Like, let's just fool around and see what we come up with, you know, and I'm cool with that. I mean, some of it I thought worked for me and some of it didn't, you know, and I think that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
one of the great things with Marvel is that they have the entire line of comics, which yes, there's a consistency and a continuity to the comic books, but I mean, every so many years they reboot the different series, and they
Right.
things, and they freshen it up, and they do different things like that. So, Star Wars, there's got to be some kind of outlet for that sort of thing. I mean,
Right.
everything. I know everything's quote matters, but some days maybe it doesn't have to, or and you can just go off and do this little side thing like that. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they they have because that first one I could totally see that being like after that first one I was kind of like, if this is what this is going to be, I would love to see. I want to see more about that character.
Yeah. Now they did announce for that first one. There's a book coming out apparently about that
really?
character, and now I found that interesting though too, because I'm like, oh, so now we're having, so this is like sort of like an ancillary piece of media. Now we're having a book based on this, and like some further adventures of this guy. And on one hand, hey, that's cool. On the other hand, that's too far out for me.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
yeah. I mean, they did announce a season 2 for this, right? I think they said.
Oh, did they?
Didn't they?
I don't know.
Maybe they didn't. All right, I'll take that back because I don't know for sure. But I thought,
I'm not sure either.
But if they have a season 2,
sure.
I'm in. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch the end of this. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. I just what that first one I see why it was the first one, because that just really and I mean I have discovered, I guess you could say, that to an extent, like a lot of the different animation styles. I like animation, I like that sort of thing, but a lot of the animation styles, I guess I'm not a big anime fan.
Yeah,
like I didn't care for some of the stuff. I was hoping, part of me was hoping for like a I mean, I guess it's still technically anime, but like, what's the animation for like you see like Star Blazers was old, but like the what I'm thinking of is somebody did an X-wing, a fan did one, and it was a TIE fighter anime. And it was like a TIE fighter pilot flying around with the X-wing fighters and doing all this dogfight, and it was all done in like what I would consider like an anime type of style, but more like Star Blazers, or more like
okay. I don't know that, like, and even Speed Racer, I think. I don't know that they're true anime. I mean, I don't know any. I'll preface this. I know nothing about anime, right? But I don't think they're true anime. I think they're anime inspired.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's aspects of it, but you would have to, like, I'm not the guy to ask, really.
No, and I'm the same way, So, but I don't know. I was hoping for whatever I had in my head. I was hoping for that, and I didn't get it in any of these. So I'm curious if there's another season, if they would do something like that, or maybe I'm off base and what I'm thinking as anime is not anime.
Right. It also very possible. Like, because I don't know. I thought it was one thing, and then these shows weren't really that thing that I had in my head either. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to anime. So
all right. Well, I guess that wraps us up on Star Wars then.
All right.
And then now we'll head over to.
So we had a lot of. Should we head into Star Trek?
Yeah, a lot of Star Trek news.
So this was Star Trek had Star Trek Day,
right?
Which is like a thing now, and I don't have the day listed, but it's actually the it's the day that the original series premiered, whatever day that is. It's like September something, and so now that's like I kind of like this, that they're doing this. It's like a Star Trek. So they're trying to have a Star Trek Day, sort of like Star Wars has a Star Wars Day, which is May the 4th.
Right.
And I kind of like that, because this year they did it last year, and then this year they made it even bigger, right? Like, so last year they did a big thing, and this year they did an even bigger thing, and I like it. And they announced, they sort of saved all the news for this day, and there was some good stuff. I mean, we got a new Picard trailer.
Right. Yeah.
Which we sort of been waiting on. I cannot remember the release date for that show coming up.
Oh, here.
But
Picard is February of 22.
okay, so it's next year. But
Yeah.
that trailer looks amazing. I mean, it looks it looks like there's a whole because we didn't really know a whole lot about it, but there's a whole time travel aspect to it, and it looks like history has changed at some point.
Yeah.
Q is involved. So I'm looking for. I really liked the first Picard. I'm looking forward to the second one. So we get and the trailer looks great. I mean, and I think Patrick Stewart.
Oh, he's great.
However old that guy gets, he's still fantastic.
I know. Now he's funny though, because I was just watching the trailer before tonight. Now he is starting to show his age, but I think, and I could be wrong, but I think in Picard they're letting him be his age.
Right. They're not trying to hide it.
Right. Like I feel like with Harrison Ford, maybe they're trying to hide it to an extent.
Right.
Whereas with him, they're like, "Nah, dude, you're an old guy. Come on," but I like that. I think it's cool. And I think, what was I going to say? Oh, one of the things I noticed in the trailer tonight was that it looks like they come back to our time for a little bit.
Yeah, and in fact, a lot of people were talking about the parallels between, because one of the best episodes ever of the original series was when they time traveled, and then of course Star Trek 4 they time traveled, and there's a scene from the trailer that definitely calls back to a scene from Star Trek 4.
Okay.
If you look closely, like there's a scene where, like, if you remember Chekhov gets in Star Trek 4, he gets captured by the police,
right?
And they're like interrogating him, and then there's a scene from the Picard trailer where it's almost like a similar thing, like somebody did a side-by-side comparison. It looks almost exactly
that's funny.
the same. So that's kind of cool. I'm excited. Like I'm down for this. I mean, Star Trek and time travel always works out well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
So that we got that trailer. We didn't get a trailer for Strange New Worlds, which is the new, is the new series that's going to star Captain Pike. But we did get a ton of information about it, and and they introduced all the, because they had said it cryptically a while back that you were going to see some familiar faces, and nobody really knew what that meant. Well, now we know what it means, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew Spock was going to be in it. We knew Pike was going to be in it, and then number one, who was, because all those three characters were also in Discovery, so we knew those three characters were going to be in it. But then they announced that there's going to be a Cadet Uhura, right? So when she first gets assigned to the Enterprise, which I think is really cool, there's going to be Nurse Chapel, who is she was on the original series, and now she's going to be in this one. And then there's a doctor, and I don't remember the doctor's name, but he was only in the pilot episode.
Okay.
Right. Because famously they filmed the pilot episode. Pike was the captain in the pilot. CBS said no, they were kind of rejected it. And then Gene Roddenberry did another pilot, and using CBS's suggestions, and then they recast, right? So Kirk was the captain, Spock was in the pilot too, but Kirk was the captain. They got a new doctor, all that, they got rid of number one and all that. So that's sort of the fame. But in Gene Roddenberry's mind, that original pilot was always canon.
I always thought that was neat.
And Pike even ends up showing up in a later episode of the original series, and that's when he has an accident, and he's in sort of a chair, and he's burned, and
that's when even the Pike from Discovery doesn't he have that one episode, like a flash?
He flashes to him in the chair. So I just think I love this concept. I really hope it's going to work out, because I love the idea of having, these are stories we don't know that we know took place, and we've never seen any of them,
Yeah,
and I'm really excited. I think this is a great idea, and I'm excited about it. I love Anson Mount as Pike. I think he's really good.
I know. I'm excited for this because I think it'll be basically the closest thing to like traditional Star Trek.
Yes,
I mean,
I think
Picard's Picard, Discovery's off doing its thing, and this might just sort of fill that niche where it's like, okay, here's your straightforward Star Trek adventure.
Right. Yeah, and I'm excited about this. So I think this is 2022. I don't think it's coming in this year.
Yep.
So just something to look forward to. But I thought it was really cool that they introduced, like, Uhura's going to be on it.
Yeah, I think that's
and
neat.
Nurse Chapel, and interestingly, Nurse Chapel and Number One were both played by Majel Barrett, who ends up being Roddenberry's wife. So she was in the pilot episode as Number One.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
And then they were like, no, we're going to get rid of Number One. And then Roddenberry brought her back as Nurse Chapel, and she sort of shows up as Nurse Chapel. And then in Next Generation, she's the voice of the computers.
Oh, that's right.
And she's also Deanna Troy's mother. So
that's right.
She keeps coming back. So I thought that was interesting. So so two of Majel Barrett's characters are going to be on one show, which I thought was kind of
That's funny, yeah.
Anyway, so that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. They also showed a trailer for this Star Trek Prodigy, which is going to be on is it not Comedy Central? What is
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon.
It's going to be on Paramount Plus first, and then it'll air on Nickelodeon.
Okay. And this isn't for me. I mean, I may check it out. This is definitely a show geared towards kids. Trying to get them into Star Trek. I'll probably check out an episode or two. This is clearly not for me. The thing that I thought was interesting here is that Captain Janeway from Star Trek. There's too many of them. Voyager is gonna do a voiceover on the show. She's somehow going to be involved. Yeah, as Janeway.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Like I said, it's not for me. I'll probably check it out, but I don't.
Yeah, it caught my attention was Janeway being involved, and I just thought it was neat that I think all the characters other than Janeway, I think they're all aliens.
Yeah, they're all aliens.
From a more of a Star Wars side of things or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool because I always liked Star Trek, but I liked aliens, So
yeah,
and they always did them minimalistic, Spock,
right,
or whatever like that,
right?
Some of these
ears,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Antennas sometimes,
Right. Well, yeah. What are those? Yeah. But to see some of these more crazier designs, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. So, but again, though, all right, just they're probably. I mean, I would say they're doing a disservice by saying it's going to be on Nickelodeon, but also at the same time, it's probably exactly what they want because they're like letting people know, like, this is for kids, like, or this is geared towards kids.
And I think it definitely makes sense. I mean, I think they're creating a vehicle to create new Star Trek fans. And makes total sense. I'm already a Star Trek fan. They don't need to convince me, so I'm in. But like I said, I'll check it out. I'll see what I'll check it out, see how it is. But I can't imagine it. I like the concept. I guess the concept is that somehow these kids, and they're all like kids or teenagers or something. They kind of like somehow stumble across a ship, and it's not like it's like a starship, and they take it over. It's like abandoned or something like that, and they throw it up and go on adventures.
Oh, what was that? That movie Space Camp? Remember I got a very Space Camp vibe,
right?
Where they somehow end up in control of the space shuttle, or
right?
Yeah.
And I think Janeway is sort of like the Doctor was from Star Trek Voyager. He's like a holographic. So she's like a holograph. She's going to be there, but she's not physically there. That kind of thing.
Yeah, she's like helping them, right?
Yeah.
The voice of reason, the adult or the parent to help out, and then the kids will have to figure it out on their own, probably.
Yeah. Hey, I don't. it works. I mean, hey. So
and there's plenty of programming for grown-ups, so I have no problem with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and hey, it may surprise me. I may love it.
Right, I know. All of a sudden, you might be like, "This is my favorite show."
Right. I got when they were talking about it. What it called to my mind was Star Wars Resistance.
Yes, right.
That's like I got a very Star Wars Resistance vibe from it, and I was like, "Yeah, this isn't for me."
That's exactly what we were talking about. I'm thinking that I'm like, well, that's exactly what Resistance was. Star Wars Resistance was for kids.
Yeah,
and I know people were all angry and upset about it. And I'm like, guys, it's for kids. It's
right.
You got to get these people.
You got to give You got to give them an entrance point, and that was it. It's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah. So
yes.
what else?
I think that's it for Star Trek. I mean, I mean, there was a lot of news, but I think those are sort of the highlights. So I think that's
all right. I finished watching Discover or Lower Decks. Have you finished up season 2 at all?
I'm watching it. I watch it here and there. I don't dislike it. I just don't. I watch it here and there. I don't dislike it, but it's not one of my favorite things in the world. I'll just put it that way.
I'm like torn on it because like certain things of it I really like, and I really like it. Really hooks into the whole Next Generation, like that, and I really enjoy certain things like that. Some of the other stuff, it like the bickering and the more some of the comedic things are a little bit too much. But
it's almost sometimes I feel like it's almost too inside baseball. And like I'm a Star Trek fan. I've been a Star Trek fan for a long time. I'm not like die hard where I could like quote you chapter and verse episodes. Right. And sometimes a lot of their callbacks are like that inside. Like you really have to know it.
I watched they usually will release a video with the creator, and he'll explain a few things.
Okay.
And I don't watch it all the time, but sometimes it pops up and I'll take a look at it. And like he was talking about the finale, and he goes, oh, they referenced this and we've never seen it, so we decided to show it. And and I'll keep it a mystery or whatever, but I'm just kind of like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, like, right.
No idea about that. So, but overall it's been fun. I enjoy I enjoy it. It's again, it's like 50-50. There's like some stuff I really like and other stuff I'm like, okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah. I just watched whatever episode because I watched it on the elliptical the other day when I was working out. Right. And whatever episode I just watched there were a lot of callbacks to the movies. A lot. And I don't remember, it was like she becomes I don't even know the character's name, but she becomes like evil. It's like a holodeck thing, and she does it all on the holodeck. And there were a ton of callbacks to the movies, like a bunch of like Wrath of Khan and the Star Trek Insurrection. It's like there were a ton of callbacks. So that one I got, but like I like I'm fine. It's not that I dislike it. I'm never like, oh, I gotta watch this day and date.
Right. So. And then we have a Discovery that comes out. I think the trailer they showed on Star Trek Day, you had said we saw that before, but that comes out November 18th, so that's coming soon.
Yeah, it's coming out. I was shocked when I was like, oh, it's right around the corner. I was surprised.
Yeah, and now that one, I again, I'm like, I'll watch it, but that's one for me where I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not that excited about it, so.
I've just never felt like any of the seasons were a home run. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been episodes I really liked, some themes that they followed that I really liked. Right. But I was real like season 3. I was really disappointed in it because I thought it was such a great setup.
Yes.
I thought I was like, wow, this is really when they're going to come into their own in season 3.
Yeah.
And it's not that it was bad, but it was just like the ending. I was kind of like, oh. That's what we've been working towards all season?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It was a bit of a letdown, I thought, too.
And I was like, okay.
Right. You're like, all right, I guess we're going on to season 4.
Yeah, you're right.
So, all right. I guess that wraps up Star Trek for us
Yeah.
then. All right. So let's head over to Doctor Who.
Yeah, and there's not too much here. We just this week we got a trailer
Okay.
for season 13, and I think this is coming up also.
That's on Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That also stunned me because I wasn't expecting this until next year sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, this sounds really cool. So we know this is Jodie Whittaker's last season,
Right.
right? But what I thought was interesting is that they've announced that it's a 6-episode season, and then I think there's 2 specials.
Oh, is that okay?
I think that's how it's working. But the 6-episode season is called The Flux.
Okay.
And it's going to be one 6-part story is what they're saying.
Okay.
And I think this is really cool. I'm excited about it because I like the idea that it's all part of one giant story,
Yeah.
It's like a 6-hour movie, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where they go with it because the trailer they showed, I mean, some of the greatest hits from Doctor Who, right? Like the Cybermen are in it. We didn't see any Daleks, but we saw Cybermen. We saw this creature called the Ood, which was from an earlier season.
Right, I remember them.
We saw Weeping Angels, which everybody loves, the Weeping Angels. So I think that, I'm excited about where this is headed.
Yeah.
My only thing is, I do want to get, and I hope this story, The Flux, is going to deal with the stuff that they set up in season 2 that never really got resolved. You know what I'm saying? Because they set up the Doctor is this timeless child where she's not really the Doctor's not really a Time Lord. He's something bigger than the Time Lord, and he's had all these, or he or she has had all these lives that we didn't know about before. And I love that concept, but they never really went very far with it. They just sort of introduced it and then kind of played around on the edges, the fringes of it.
Yeah, because I think it was like the last episode was like when they finally revealed everything, and then there was there was
there was a big fight on Gallifrey, and I think Gallifrey ends up getting destroyed.
Okay.
In this whole thing, and the Time Lords are no more, I guess, but they never really. The Doctor knows that she's had a bigger life than what she's aware of.
Right.
But then that was it. They kind of left it that way there, and so I want them to pick that up because I love that idea. I want them to go with it. I want to learn more about it. So I hope this series, because it's like what concerned me about the trailer is with all these greatest hit villains showing back up, and I don't know what the story is going to be, but I hope that we get the story of this timeless child within there somewhere.
The greatest hits is wonderful, but I'm actually vested and interested in this timeless thing now. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I really want to get that story. So we'll see where it goes. I'm excited about it. Hey, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've had Doctor Who.
I know, because when I actually looked the holiday special from last year, right? When that is actually on HBO Max right now.
Yes, it was
on. I didn't realize that because I remember at the time it aired. I guess it aired last New Year's Day or whatever.
New Year's Day, right? But
it wasn't available yet.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know when it showed up, but I happened to look yesterday or today, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, it's here now. So I have to go watch that. I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, in fact, I actually started rewatching some of the last season because I really want to see that final episode again because a new companion gets introduced, and the episode I watched didn't have that. It happens in like a credit scene.
Oh,
the episode, I think I got it on AMC Plus or something like that.
Oh, right. I remember you saying
and they didn't show it.
Oh.
And I was like, what is, I know this happened. Why am I not seeing it? Right.
Interesting.
So yeah, so I really want to. I want to go back to HBO. I want to see if HBO actually has it.
Okay, right. I have to see. Yeah, I have to see.
Because he's part of the. It looks like he's part of the team when the season begins.
Yeah, he's the new guy. Right.
So
yeah, well, I agree. So well, if I see it sooner than later, I'll let you know.
okay. Yeah, but that was really it with Doctor Who. I mean, it was just that the new trailer came out this week. So
yeah,
and then it's coming, and the new season begins Halloween. So
Halloween, right? And then they announced not the new Doctor, but that they announced that the who's the old showrunner they're bringing back?
Russell T Davies. Which,
okay.
Yeah, and I think this is a really interesting choice. I don't know what it means,
Okay.
but Russell T Davies was the showrunner. I think that's his title. Might be something else, but I think essentially he was the showrunner when they rebooted the series. So he was the showrunner with Christopher Eccleston.
Okay.
And so I really think it's interesting that they're bringing Russell T Davies back, and we know that Chris Eccleston is now, he was not he was like down on Doctor Who for a really long time,
right.
but I think he and Davies had a fairly good relationship. So it would be interesting if that means, I don't know. I mean, no one's even rumoring that. I'm just thinking to myself, wow, that would be a really cool way to sort of bring him back.
That'd be pretty neat
for like a, just, not for, but like as an episode or something like that.
Or something.
Right.
Or right. Tale of the Two Doctors or, whatever.
Right.
One of those they used to do. Yeah.
So we'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. All right. So here, last thing we got is DC Comics had their they just started, I think, last year, but they did their DC fandom thing, and they just basically it's a DC day, and they just go nuts and they just promote everything under the sun that they have coming out. The highlights from this, for everything, is the biggest one was they showed a new Batman trailer. So this is the Batman with
Robert Pattinson.
That's it. Robert Pattinson is Batman, and they showed the trailer. That's Batman. They showed Catwoman. There's the Penguins in there, and briefly you get to see the Riddler, see Commissioner Gordon. So all the mainstays. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but I was pretty impressed with it. I thought it definitely looks dark.
Yeah,
and it looks violent.
Yes,
but I was pretty impressed with it. It felt like Batman, but it felt like a little bit of a new take on it, and I don't know. It felt like I guess the best way to say it would be fresh. It's not like a Batman we've seen before, and at this point, we've seen quite a bit of Batman.
Yeah.
So for this, I was like, all right, I'm on board with this. I think I'm excited for this. Until the trailer, I don't want to say I wasn't, but I was just sort of like, okay, another Batman movie, that's cool, and I like Batman, but it caught my attention. I was really excited for it.
Yeah, I watched the trailer the other day. I watched it again today, and I know a lot of people when Robert Pattinson was announced, they were like real down on him. I got to be honest with you, I up until last year, I had never seen Robert Pattinson in anything. So I'd never seen any of the what are the movies? Twilight movies. I'd never seen any of those. So I've never seen him act. Now I did when we got into Harry Potter, I saw him in the Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, he was good in those.
He was fine. Yeah, I thought he was really good. In fact, he was like one of my son's favorite characters from those movies. Like he really liked, that was like one of his favorite movies.
Right.
And he really liked that character. I thought he acted well in that. So I was like, okay,
I think a lot of it comes is because when in those Twilight movies, he was like a vampire, but he was like a pretty boy, and all the girlies liked him. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people have him as that, and
right.
He's going to be Batman, and they have him. Anyway,
yeah,
he's a good actor. He's been in several other things. He looked good in the suit. They showed him. suit, I'm like, all right,
That's the thing. I mean, I looked at him in the suit, and I'm like, hey, he pulls it off. Like he's, like I always felt like Ben Affleck was almost like too big for it. You know what I'm saying? Like he just seemed like a big,
right.
Nothing. I'm not saying he's fat or anything, but he looked big in the suit.
He's the what do you call it? So that book, The Dark Knight Returns, in there, the way the artist drew Batman, he was very big and like not fat, but very much of a big, like bulky,
like just a big guy, right?
Yeah. And so I always thought Affleck, that's the look they were going for with him in those movies,
right?
With that, and if that's what they were going for, I thought he was great. I take the movies out of it, and just him in the suit, I thought he looked good. He was a really good. He looked great as Batman.
Yeah.
So this guy, Robert Pattinson, he's not big like that, and so he strikes me, and I have no idea how old the guy is in real life, but he strikes me as a much younger Batman.
Yes.
And I'm going to say he's slight, but he's not. I think he's just much smaller than Ben Affleck.
Right, like a little bit more. Like I was looking at it, and I was like, he's a little bit more like athletic.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like I could picture him. Like I was watching, and I sort of thought about. I kind of thought back to the comics, right? From when we were kids, and where Batman's like scaling buildings and jumping, and jumping around. Like I could see him doing that because he's that kind of athletic build.
Right? Athletic, like almost like acrobatic type of, like what I mean. Like that thing. Whereas, Ben Affleck, I mean, I don't see him doing like flips or like swing.
Right.
He jumps off a building, he's going down.
Right.
He's a big, heavy man.
Yeah.
And I'm not right again, not fat. I mean, he's
right. He's like a big guy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So anyway, I was pleasantly surprised, and I was excited for that. So I'm looking forward to the Batman movie. I think that'll be something something to look forward to with DC.
And when is that? When is the release date for that?
March of this year. So March 2022. So some of the other things they announced or they kind of showed was so they have the Black Adam movie coming out. That is coming out on July 29th of 2022. That stars Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. They showed a little, I think like a 1 minute part of the movie is sort of like when they first discover Black Adam.
Okay.
He's been entombed in like an Egyptian pyramid type of thing. And so they first discover him, and Black Adam isn't like an anti-hero. He's a bad guy, basically. He's
right.
He's Shazam's bad guy. And so he's kind of an anti-hero. So it looks good. I mean, they show him in his costume. He looks great. They show Pierce Bronson holding Dr. Fate's helmet. You kind of, and I was all excited for that because I like Dr. Fate. They show some of the other cast members outside of, just talking a little bit and stuff like that. So, I mean, I like Black Adam. I like all the other characters. Hawkman's in this. I like Hawkman. I like the comics that this is all based on very much.
Yeah.
It's going to be, for me, it's a wait and see type of thing though, because I'm not sure. I don't trust DC. I mean, I hate to say it, but like I want to be into it. I mean, I love DC Comics for years and years, and I like the material, but I mean, when it comes to the movies, I'm hesitant,
Yeah.
And I like The Rock a lot too, but he's The Rock, and so for him coming in playing a character that I like, it's a little bit different than him being the Jungle Cruise guy.
Right, right.
So it's interesting. I'll be curious to see how it works out. But I mean, everything I saw, I'm interested. I'm looking forward to it. I just, sort of cautiously optimistic on that one.
Yeah. I'm growing fonder and fonder of The Rock as the years go on. So I'm down. I'll go check this out.
That's the thing is like, right. I like The Rock.
He's a likable guy.
I've discovered right. If he's in a movie and I watch it, I'm like, I like this guy. So that's my only disconnect is like, because I like The Rock, and then it's like I like Black Adam, but I'm like, all right, now I got to merge them together. It's kind of when Jason Momoa played.
Right.
Aquaman. I knew him from Game of Thrones, and that I think that's my problem with a lot of DC stuff is that for years I read all the comics and I was so into it.
Yeah.
Now like I'm like, well, this doesn't look like Aquaman, or like I get hung up on those things, even though I should know better.
Yeah.
You can't help yourself. Whereas like Marvel, I never really read a lot of the Marvel comics. So when they cast somebody, I'm like, cool. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So, and then just quickly, two other things for DC. They showed a little quick Flash trailer as a teaser trailer. They had Ezra Miller talk about it a little bit, and then they threw to it as like another little 2-minute thing. And then, so the basic gimmick of it is it sounds like the Flash. It's based off of a comic called Flashpoint, but I think that's basically the point is Flash goes back in time to prevent his mother from being murdered. And by doing this, he changes the timeline. Right. So we're kind of going to see, like with Marvel, the whole multiverse and all this stuff. We're getting that with DC now as well, and it's most obvious because the voiceover of this Flash trailer is the Michael Keaton Batman.
Okay.
So
I had heard that he was. Now, is it a true trailer? Or is it a sizzle reel kind of thing?
It's like a little. It's a little trailer. I mean,
okay, I haven't seen it yet. I gotta watch.
Okay.
I have to watch it.
So, but you get the gist. It's like they set it up. It's like, all right, the Flash changed time, and then Batman says something to the effect of like, if you can go anywhere in time, anywhere in time, why do you want to stay here or something like that? But so it's his voice, and at the very end they show it's like a back shot, and they show him walk into the frame with and you see the Batman ears. And you're like oh, this is Michael Keaton. He's back. That's cool.
That's awesome.
And Ezra Miller's there talking to him as the Flash, and then you kind of really don't realize, but over his shoulder there's a person here and a person here, right, on either side of him, and back here is another Ezra Miller. So there's like another Flash from another universe with our Flash.
Okay.
And then the other side is a dark-haired girl, and that's apparently Supergirl, but a different universe of Supergirl too.
Okay.
So they're kind of doing all this multiverse stuff for the Flash. The rumor is that and Ben Affleck apparently is in the movie as well as Batman. Speaking. But the rumor is that this is going to sort of reset the entire DC universe.
Okay.
Because they're kind of done with Zack Snyder, and they kind of want to reset and kind of move forward, and that's kind of what they tried to do with the comics when they did the Flashpoint, is that not successfully, but they tried to reboot everything and whatever.
It's not a terrible idea.
Well, and that's funny because they do need to do something because I mean, I kind of DC is all over the place, and on one hand it's great, but on the other hand I feel like Marvel has set such a standard that you need some sort of, if you want to have all these different crossovers and stuff, if you want a shared universe, you have to earn it. You have to build it together.
Right. You have to. Right. I agree with that. And that's the thing. I feel on one level I feel bad for DC because what Marvel built. Like I don't know that any other company could come in and recreate what Marvel has done. Because they've done it over 12 years.
Yeah.
Nobody's got that kind of time anymore. We patiently, it was earned. We watch all those movies and they got there. DC doesn't have that kind of time. They got to and that's what I've always felt was wrong with their universe. They were just trying to rush it through, and it's like you can't.
Right.
It's not going to work that way.
No, they, rush, and then they shove a Justice League at you, and you're like, wait a minute, and you're like, I like these characters, and I don't even know who these guys. Like, I know who they are, but you're like, but I haven't gotten to know these guys yet. They should have unfortunately, they should have taken their time. I mean, they should have given us Wonder Woman. They should, slowly.
Right.
And Aquaman. I mean, when they had solo movies, both of those did very well. So, anyway, but that being said, so I did watch The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I have not seen this yet.
That was on HBO Max. We talked about seeing it, and then it was on HBO Max, and I'm like, well, click. And James Gunn did it, and I enjoyed it, and it was a good movie. It was very, very similar to Guardians. I mean, just very. It was funny and whatever. It was good. I liked it.
Okay.
But without the hook of the rest of the universe, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about Shang-Chi, is like, without the hook of the other universe, it was just a good movie.
Okay.
But after, but with like Shang-Chi now, you're like, oh, that was a good movie. And then, where's it going to go?
Right.
Whereas Suicide Squad, you're like, oh, okay.
I know this isn't really going to go anywhere.
Right. And now they're going to do Peacemaker with John Cena. He was in Suicide Squad. He's going to get his own show on HBO Max, and it's kind of a spin-off of this. And so that's coming out, and that's the trailer they released for that is very. He doesn't break the fourth wall, but it's very Deadpool-esque to me.
Okay.
Very ridiculous, very over the top. It looks funny. I'm going to watch it, but it's a shame because like that, it just there's a key component missing there, and it's just the fact that they need there needs to be like a home base or a home, like a straight through line with all these different DC movies, and they're missing that right now. So
right. Okay.
I hope they can pull it together and pull it off. But
yeah, I really want to watch that movie.
It was good. I mean, it was good. It was funny. It's just like it ends, and you're like, okay. You're like, all right. There's no reason to care about it past the credit, which is a shame. But I mean, the only reason would be because Peacemaker's coming. If you were that into it, you're like, okay, well, I can watch the Peacemaker show.
Right.
So I don't know, unless they're letting James Gunn build his little tiny universe over here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure quite what they're doing, but
okay.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's it. There's a ton of other stuff they announced, various TV or various other movies coming down the pike and various TV shows and stuff like that. But that they were the main highlights.
Yeah, and they announced Wonder Woman 3.
Oh yes,
that was the other thing that caught my attention.
That was the first time they announced that, right?
And that's another Patty Jenkins, right?
As far as I know, she's still involved. I just saw Wonder Woman 3. So it's funny. I was listening to something and they were talking about Rogue Squadron coming out. And again, it's like, Wonder Woman, the first one was wonderful. Wonder Woman, the second one was not good movie, and then now you're like, she has a Star Wars coming out and I'm just kind of like, oh no,
Yeah, I know.
And I'm curious to see if she'll be there for Wonder Woman 3, if they're just, all right.
I hope they redeem it because Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, is so good.
Yeah, right.
And the second one, I was like, what happened here? Right? Like what?
Yeah.
It was just so.
It was bad.
It was bad. Like and I don't say that.
Right.
Like I go to a movie and I try to. I want to enjoy it. I'm not there to hate on it.
Right.
That was just not a good movie. It just wasn't.
I mean, right. It's I say that I'm like, same thing. I'm there to have a good time, and
yeah,
sure, I might pick some things apart and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm there to have a good time. And if you lose me during the movie, if I end up rolling my eyes during the movie, you got a major problem because I'm down.
Right.
I'm down for a giant starfish in Suicide Squad. I mean, I'm there. If you can make it work, I'm there. And just. Wonder Woman, not even halfway through, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me wonder, like, if were they just so excited that they just phone it in? I mean,
I wondered because that came out during COVID, right?
That was like the first movie that you could watch, like you could stream.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was that. I'm like, is this just a side effect of watching it at home? But I've seen plenty of other movies since then that I've enjoyed.
I wondered if maybe COVID affected it maybe they could do reshoot. I don't know. I don't know. I was just. It was shockingly bad.
If that were the case, you think people would be out there spinning it like, "Oh, we're really sorry, it was COVID."
Yeah,
you just didn't hear anything about it. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
But at any rate,
Right. So,
Uh,
well, I think that's about it. Do you have
Does
anything else?
I don't think I did. The only other thing and I'll do real quick because I don't I know this is off our list of things, but did you see the Game of Thrones prequel trailer?
Yes.
Okay. What any thoughts? I mean, it was short.
It was short, like a quick little thing.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to work really hard
To get you back.
to win me back. Yeah, I mean, it looked interesting, but I mean, I'm not that vested in the prehistory of Game of Thrones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I probably will let it air and then wait and see if people start talking about it.
Okay.
Just because it's a shame, but I feel so burnt by that last season.
I know.
And I tried to be positive at the time. I remember I'd be like, it's not that bad. And then in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, that was bad. And those guys are gone.
They're
gone. They're supposed to have some deal with Netflix, and like I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
I don't, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I tried to go into it. I was like, well, maybe we just all had expectations, and maybe it'll all make sense later.
Right.
And it doesn't.
No. And I'm still waiting for the tell-all. Like, why on earth was it so rushed?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I mean, really, if they had just taken it and what was the 8 episodes of the last season, or was it only 6? I can't remember.
I don't remember. It was very short, and I remember, and I know that HBO
they wanted them
would have given them anything they asked for.
Yes, right.
And they were like, no, we can do it in this many episodes.
Right.
And they were wrong.
If they had taken it and just, I mean, I don't want to say pat it out, but man, just, stretch it out a little bit and flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah. I think even George R.R. Martin was
he's
horrified by what happened.
He even came out and said, I don't know the quote, but he basically was like, yeah, my books will be better. You know what I mean? Just so.
Anyway. All right. I was just curious. Yeah. Because the only thing I caught was, Matt Smith was one of the doctors at one point. So he was in the trailer, and I thought he looked interesting. He's a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Is he Danny's? Well, this happens way in the future, but
I think it's like 100 years in the
yeah. So it's not like a direct descendant, but
it might be like a great grandfather.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, once it's out and they start, drawing connections, and I'll be curious to see. I mean, if they can tell a story and if they can get it, if they can keep it interesting, like Game of Thrones. I mean, that was half the fun of Game of Thrones is you didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. And in the end, no one did.
Yeah.
Right. Even the showrunners didn't know it was going to happen.
Even the showrunners. We'll give it the brand.
Right. It works. Anyway. Okay. But that's the only other thing I had.
When we said that, something popped in my head real quick, and just really quick, we have Stranger Things released some kind of trailer at some point.
Did they?
But it was it just popped in my head. I don't think it tells you much of anything.
Okay.
I think you see the kids in like some kind of haunted house or something like that. But I can't remember. I'll have to talk about it next time. That's the only thing.
Okay. Because I've been thinking about Stranger, because it's getting near Halloween. In the last couple of years, they've done it. They've released near Halloween, and we were coming up on it, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch Stranger Things again. I'm going to go back and watch the old seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun to go check out again.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
All right. Good. I think we're caught up. So next time we can start fresh next time.
Sounds good.
Right? All right. Well, we thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, we ask you to give us go out there on iTunes or leave us a review. We'd really appreciate that. Hit that subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We would love for that. We love new subscribers. And if you do want to see us in person, you can watch us on YouTube instead of just listening to the podcast. But we're both places. So with that, And also you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all those other social media things.
Right.
All right, gang. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks.